Hello, I'm Neil Quigley and welcome to my podcast. MPs have been debating in Parliament about what will happen when we finally leave the EU, and seemingly most of them want to pretty much keep everything exactly as it is, therefore making the whole process totally worthwhile then. Theresa May has launched her strongest attack on Russia yet, accusing Moscow of meddling in elections and carrying out cyber espionage. Seems quite groundbreaking, except when I was at school studying history, I do remember doing quite a lot on the propaganda produced by different countries prior to and during conflicts. The only difference is the internet has now been invented and people seem to believe everything they read. The Spanish Prime Minister has vowed to end the Catalonia havoc, which is my favourite use of that word for some time. We should have renamed Brexit that European havoc. As the British economy struggles for the first time in history, those chocolate coins you get at Christmas will be worth more than the actual thing. Donald Trump has been again trading playground-style insults with Kim Jong-un. I think the two of them are both just very angry with their hairdressers. That's the cause of the tension, I feel. In Sussex, a cash point was removed by ram raiders using a stolen digger, ironically leaving a hole in the wall. Someone left a note on an ambulance after it blocked their drive while responding to a call-out. I mean, they wouldn't have minded, but it was at his house. The Church of England has changed its guidelines, so any gender of child can wear any type of clothes they like. I mean, that only seems fair. Their vicars have been wearing frocks for years. 7 bin bags full of cannabis plants have been found dumped at the side of the road in North Yorkshire. Police are treating it as a case of believing you can fly tipping. There was a huge fire at a former waste plastic site in Blackburn with about 12,000 tonnes alight at one point. This much plastic has not been this hot since Cher last topped the charts. Giant creatures marched through the city of Hull last Saturday night at an event to mark them becoming the City of Culture, although many people are just describing it as a normal weekend there. As scientists look into the effects of heading the ball on the health of footballers' brains, it might at least explain some of those post-match interviews. Brian May was briefly suspended from Instagram for forgetting to credit the photographer of a picture he used. Seems a bit harsh, as it was only one vision. A car once owned by Eric Morecambe sold for £96,000 at auction. It's a 1968 Jensen Interceptor. Despite being old, as long as you tap it regularly and say to it, "Keep going, you fool," it will run perfectly. The consumer watchdog Which has called on retailers to stop selling popular toys it says have proven security issues. Basically, it's toys that connect to the internet or operate via Bluetooth. This was never an issue when I was a kid. The biggest risk from a toy was standing on some Lego in your bare feet. Commuters are being urged to step in if they see vulnerable people near railway tracks as part of a campaign to prevent suicide. It's a very worthwhile cause and I really hope it works, but most commuters I see will not even look at each other, let alone start a conversation. Bob Geldof has handed back his freedom of the city of Dublin in protest that the current Burmese leader has the same award. A solid gesture, or has he just realised that it's not practical to drive sheep through the centre nowadays, so he just thought, what's the point? An 18-year-old who drove a tractor around Londonderry city centre told police he did so because he wanted to see if there were any women about. Apparently, he was auditioning for a new Hollywood movie spin-off called The Slow and the Other Drivers Are Furious. He was even going to change his name to Dim Wiesel. The MTV Europe Music Awards were in London last weekend for the first time in 21 years, backed by popular demand then. Rita Ora performed in a dressing gown after presumably getting her stage times mixed up. Taylor Swift left with no awards despite being nominated for 6, so expect her next album to be moaning about and getting musical revenge on that situation. A woman was deported from Sri Lanka for having a tattoo of Buddha on her arm, as they saw it as an insult against their religion. How? I would say getting a tattoo is possibly getting behind a religion even more so than, say, wearing a cross on a chain. The blame culture in the world continues to grow, as it now seems grandparents may have an impact on their grandchildren's health, as they're more likely to give treats and sweets. My nan did have a sweet jar, but unless you had developed an early taste for Fox's Glaciers Mints or Werther's Originals, you were definitely not going to overindulge. And one of the main reasons I'm so keen on keeping fit was my gramp getting me to do press-ups and sit-ups with him when he would have been in his late 60s. Holiday camp, boot camp, more like my grandparents. That's it for this week. Thank you very much for listening. Have a fantastic 7 days, and I'll speak to you next week. Have fun. Bye.